What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of hashtag VK Talks Too Much. On this episode, my very good friend Latavia and I from the It's All Good podcast will be doing something fun today. We'll be talking about our favorite 90s shows that we grew up watching. So, madam.
Yes.
I don't know where to start. If I want to start like 91, 90s, or should we just like the first thing that pops in our head?
I would say let's just go with what pops in our head because I looked up some stuff in terms of trying to remember what came out when. But
Okay, so the first one that I'm thinking of off the gate, because we were talking about it prior to, is Boy Meets World.
Oh yes, definitely.
So, were you a fan of Boy Meets World?
Yeah, I was. And even I even tried to watch when they did the
reboot
Girl Meets World. I did watch a few episodes, but I was just like, it's not my time anymore. This isn't for me anymore. But no, I loved Boy Meets World. Like Corey and Topanga was, I would say they were relationship goals before that was a thing. So yeah, them, Sean.
I liked Sean. I think everyone liked Sean in some shape or form because he was just like so moody and mysterious, and you just wanted to hug him. But at the same time, he has so much drama. And you're just like, Sean.
Yeah, that I think if I were to go back and watch it now, it's like, he was dealing with some serious stuff that I didn't even comprehend then. But yeah, like, and Mr. Feeney was also one of my favorites.
Like the best.
Yes.
I know I wanted to have a Mr. Feeney in school. Like I was like, where's my Mr. Feeney? I need my teacher that I can hang out with, talk about everything. Never quite got a Mr. Feeney, but
I mean, kind of. It was like you were at CR for a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you ever have Fisher?
Long ponytail? No.
No, it was a black guy.
Yes.
So
yes.
like,
yes, I remember.
I would say he was the closest outside of Coach Williams. Like,
yeah.
I would say but I still didn't hang out with him. Like, but there were like moments.
Mine was my 4th grade teacher. I don't even know if I should say her name. Miss Stanley. She was like, okay, it's so problematic. Okay, she was a lesbian, right? Mm-hmm. But I was in 4th grade, so I didn't exactly know what that was. I just thought she was like a super tomboy, right? But Miss Stanley was like the coolest teacher ever. You remember those gigapets that we used to have?
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, I must have had 10 of them, and she took every single one of them. Not playing games. She took every single one of them, but she was like the realest teacher. Like she kept it all the way real with everybody. It was pretty good. I like Miss Stanley.
That's good. Yeah, I had teachers that I had like moments with that I liked, but I remember really liking my 2nd grade teacher. I think her name was Miss Staccato, or it was something with an S. It was when I was in Turkey, but it was her and Mr. I think his name was Mossberg, but it was like we had our classes would cook together every week. And that was the thing that I liked the most. Like I can't tell you anything else about 2nd grade, but I know that we cooked and we created a cookbook, and like that was the highlight for me.
Then you're trying to remember 2nd grade, like what the heck did I do?
Yeah, that's all I got.
3rd grade teacher though, I did not like that lady. Her name was Miss Wallings. Miss Wallings, if you are listening to this, you were awful. Okay, you were awful. You were the worst.
Oh. Like you still feeling a way about that. I could tell. Like it's still.
If I see her walking in the street today, I'm a no. She wrote a note home to my mom. I know this is way off topic, but she wrote a note home to my mom because I went like this in the classroom, okay? I told her that I was being disruptive and causing ruckus and all this foolishness because be able to flip it. I can't do it anymore. Reason
Oh, yeah, that's what you're talking about.
upside down. I was in 3rd grade.
And you got a letter written home, and
A whole letter this long. Your daughter is disrupted. Blase, blase.
oh, and I can only imagine how your mom reacted to that one.
Awful. She was a terrible lady. Okay, terrible. But a side note, I did enjoy the reboot. I thought it was cute. It was kind of cheesy. But it was okay.
Yeah, no, like I said, I didn't watch it regularly, but like I did watch a few episodes because I just felt like I needed to, just because. Yes. But no, like I said, Boy Meets World was definitely one. I'm trying to, and I don't remember the character's name, but when they got to high school, the one that Sean was dating, the girl Sean was dating.
Oh, Angela.
Yes.
The black girl, right?
Yes, I like their relationship. I like the dynamic of the show and just And what was
I always felt like Angela's character was kind of forced because Sean needed a partner.
Oh, most definitely. Because especially as I was saying, it was like towards the end they kept, and I think maybe it was they had gone to college or something. But it was she wasn't regular, but it was like they were trying to find a way to
make her regular.
Keep him on the show and keep his storyline relevant or something, like so he could evolve too.
Yeah.
Since Corey and Topanga were, they had their whole world.
But now let me ask you this, because I kind of thought that the show started getting a little bit corny towards the end, because you remember it was their freshman year and they got engaged, they got married, and then it was like all that marriage drama.
Yeah, and I think so. And now I'm gonna be honest, I do not remember the last seasons that clearly, but I think it's kind of similar to with what they were doing with Sean's characters. Like they were trying to keep it going, but
it just was like,
it's like, okay, this is it. Because I guess they figured because the people who were watching it, in theory, we were getting older too, and so because I would say it was similar with Saved by the Bell.
Yes, but
that was another one of mine.
With Saved by, they had like high school, and then they had the college years, and then they had the after college years. Like, this is too much.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, it was great. And as much as I would love to see them grow up and this evolve and all that stuff, I think it's time to just say we're done. Let's wrap it up and let's go out on a high note and not keep.
Because it just was like, okay, thank you for sharing.
Right, but I mean, hey, it was still a good show, and I really liked the theme song.
Oh, or were you talking about Saved by the Bell? Because I don't remember the Saved by the Bell.
I mean, I like both of them.
I cannot.
I remember like your dog ate all your homework last night, and some about the bell ring. It's all right because I'm Saved by the Bell. Like I remember that part. But yeah,
I know.
But I'm not sure. I feel like Saved by the Bell may have started in the 80s.
See, according to my notes, I did write it down. It did start in 1989.
Yeah.
But it's okay because the next year was 90s. So technically it's a 90s show.
It was still a 90s show. Yeah, because I realized, darn it, I should have written it down. But it was, I want to say A Different World, which was another one of my favorites from the 90s, started in the late 80s.
Well, since we're talking about it.
Was that one not on your list?
Oh, no, it's here. It's here. It started in 1987. I got you, girl. And it ended in 1993, which was shocking to me. I was like, it ended in 93. But then I was like, if it started in 87, it was on for a couple years.
It was like five or 6 seasons. Mm-hmm. And
A Different World was college goals because I'm going to go to the HBCU. My HBCUs are going to be popping. I'm going to have drama. I'm going to have sorority life. Like this, I'm looking forward to going to an HBCU.
I wanted to go to Hillman, not just When I tell you how devastated I was when I realized it, like, I think I knew it wasn't real, but I still felt like, no, there is a human and I'm going.
I'm going.
I started playing the saxophone because
They
I
marked
wanted.
so good. It was like, this is a real school. They had the shirts and the emblems and everything. I was like, I'm going to him.
Oh, most definitely. I started learning how to play the saxophone because I wanted to play, and then I also wanted to be in the marching band
Facts.
at an HBCU.
Facts.
And then I saw CR's marching band, and I said, no, I'm not doing it. And but that's another story. And I chose basketball over the saxophone. But anywho, but yeah, no, Hillman. A Different World definitely. Like, it was a great show. I loved the theme song.
Was.
All of the versions of it. But one of the other things that I would say that I love and I have a greater appreciation for it now is, even now watching it, it's still relevant.
Yes.
The storyline, the different issues that they addressed. Because I remember when it first came on, they first put it on Netflix. I think this was back in maybe 2013, 2014. And I was sitting there watching it like I had not seen any of the episodes before. But I was just like, oh my God, this is still relevant right now. And it's like almost as, fashion is different, but like it could have been made now.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think that a lot of the 90s sitcoms, what I can say, whether white sitcoms or black sitcoms, a lot of them did touch on, those social issues, stop the violence, put the guns down, drugs, sex before marriage. All of the 90s shows, I can distinctly remember an episode where they would say, bring your guns to the
whatever place, yeah,
or something, and then have that little PSA at the end of it, Family Matters wants to say stop the violence or whatever it was.
I was thinking about Family Matters when you said the gun one, because I remember that one. And even on it was a different world when they talked about HIV and AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yep, because that was
Campbell's character was like the one who had it. They also had like the best cameo appearances, or it was like features.
When my husband made his appearance on A Different World in the 90s, I was like, oh my
God. And who is your husband?
Tupac Amaru Shakur.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, that was, yeah.
Listen, what was his name? Piccolo? You hear me?
He was Piccolo. Oh, buddy. And Lena. That was her.
Piccolo and Lena. Yes.
And then what was the I can't remember his character's name, but the one that Lena ended up dating, but like he was
he called him Fireboy or something
Fireboy, yeah. I think his name was, I want to say like Alvin, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Although I'm sitting here like I don't have access to the internet to look these things up.
You know whose boyfriend I did like from shows back in the 90s? Oh my gosh, she was on A Different World with Lena and them. Charmaine's boyfriend,
Lance.
Listen,
because they brought them over from the
Cosby Show. Listen, Lance. He was so fun and so positive, but so just a boy at the same time. I was
like not even trying to hide it or pretend. He was just, yeah, so I'm here. I'm gonna go see what I can see, and like, you cool, but I'll see you later. Yes. And then what was one of my favorite like moments from Different World is when Charmaine and, I can't think of his name, but when they were learning French, they were in French class and they had that test that they were trying to prepare for, but neither of them knew it. And they were like up all night trying to study. And it was just, jump up hell, Charmaine.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, jump up hell, I'm up hell. And it was,
what was it?
Terrell, I think is what his name.
Yeah, the math teacher's son. Wasn't it the
Oh,
Math Teacher's Son?
was it Terrence?
Terrence or something? With the
Yeah, Colonel or Major Gang, not Gang, Colonel Taylor. Lord,
Major Payne Tay.
I was thinking Gaines, but that was Mr. Gaines. But yeah, Colonel Taylor's son.
Colonel Taylor said, yes. Jamais belle, my man. Kind of dope theme song, too.
There were so many, like,
Who was on there? Whitley, Jasmine Guy, what's the name? Everybody's auntie, Jennifer Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis, she was the dean.
Chris Summers.
Yes. I think his name is Gary Jordan or something, but Shazaa.
Listen.
That relationship was so weird, especially after he like flipped.
Shazaa was fine. Good.
Oh yeah.
That man was fine. He was fine.
Right. And then, but even the other thing too was because it was Ron and Kim were dating, and then Ron and Freddie ended up together.
He was 15 at the time. Well, that was a word. Ron was just hopping all over the place.
Oh, but he was. And well, that's right. The first season, Sinbad was on there.
He was on there?
He was the coach the first season.
He was.
Maybe like the first two seasons, because him and Jaleesa dated. And they were supposed to get married.
Yeah.
But then Jaleesa ended up marrying Colonel Taylor later on, which I'm still not clear on when and how that happened, even after rewatching it. But
because I don't think they gave a clear definition, or it was defined when Sinbad's character left. He just kind of didn't show back up.
No, I think he got another job.
Oh.
I think he got a job somewhere else. But I do, and this is mainly because I went back and rewatched it. But it was something about a job, and like they did like a going away thing. And I think he was even trying to get Jaleesa to go with him.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Right. But she stayed.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely right.
But it wasn't until I want to say it was like after like they had graduated. It was after they had graduated that Jaleesa started dating Colonel Taylor.
Taylor, right? Because it was a conflict of interest.
Right. Which, like I said, I mean, these fictional people, but yeah.
Fictional people gave me hope, though.
And
what I want to say about every sitcom that we're probably going to talk about today is that they all lied to us. Okay.
Oh, most definitely.
Every last one of them. I'm just gonna put a disclosure out there. Every last one of them. I thought high school was gonna be popping and jumping. I thought I was gonna have a beach party every other day. College was gonna be bumping. They all lied to me. Okay.
Set me up for the serious okie doke. Matter of fact, I talked about this in an episode recently of just like I love TV, I love reading, and I was all up in it. I thought high school was going to be a certain way, college, and there were moments, but it was like they took those moments and made it seem like that was the experience. That was everything. And I'm just like, they really messed me up.
And now that I'm an adult watching these shows, I'm even more heartbroken because I was like, I was really waiting to go to college and go to high school and be like, high school's going to be just like Moesha, man. I'm going to find Q.
I'm gonna have we at the poetry slam, and then apparently I wasn't watching the right shows because most of our time was spent in practice somewhere. Like, what is this? The closest, and then look, we were in Delaware, so what? The closest we had was, I remember Dairy Queen being the hangout spot, and like fast food places.
Remember when people started getting older and they had that little club? And they would go to the parking lot, let out.
Oh, that was my thing. I do a parking lot party.
Like I can't. So
because it's crazy, and like I watch it when I watch them now, I still enjoy it, but there is a cynicism. I watch it with cynicism now, just like, yeah, that's not how it really works. You're gonna have a few moments like this, but that's not really life. But
was it my real life? No. One thing I can't appreciate about a lot of the 90s shows like Martin and Living Single, Fresh Prince. One thing that they always did subliminally is promote college.
Oh, definitely.
Have you ever repeat that?
Oh, I saw it then, and I appreciate that. Even now, I appreciate it even more. Just like all the different, they'd have the sweatshirts from the different HBCUs, or just different people, different things, and it was like even the characters that didn't go. If the characters didn't go to college, or even the actors themselves didn't, they were still pushing it.
Yeah, and I always loved that. Like on the Fresh Prince, I remember Will had on the Duke sweatsuit. Remember the Duke sweatsuit? They had
Yeah.
big Duke, the blue and white sweatsuit.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that one distinctly. Like Will was always, I think he had a Howard on one time, or maybe
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, and they definitely pushed Princeton.
Yeah. I always try to figure out who went to Princeton because
yeah, like why was that the thing?
Every other day we're listening to Princeton. Remember when Ashley was singing her song? Remember her song she sang? Oh my gosh, it's like
it was one of her own.
Well, no, it wasn't like a Tatiana Ali song. It was an Ashley. Remember when they was at the boy was in college and Will discovered that she could sing?
Oh, that's right. And he was trying to be her manager. Yeah, and he messed everything up.
You remember that? It's like it's right here at the tip of my tongue, but I
can't remember the name of the song, but
yeah. Wait. Got to make up your mind. Then
oh yeah. I remember that.
Listen, I'm a 90s kid. You hear me? I'm a 90s kid.
Oh yeah, it's. I've been trying to figure it out because like that was when I talked about it like in the episode just about the fact the theme songs, like they all had a theme song that like stood out. I've been at parties in school, when I was in college, and they would play theme songs to certain shows. But like that's not a thing anymore. But I just feel like the stuff with the shows then, whatever they were doing in the writing room or the writer's room, like it was good then, and it was it's timeless, it's classic, like it's still. And not to say that none of the current shows have any of those aspects. There are some, but I just don't feel like it's the same. And maybe because we didn't have social media or the internet yet.
True. And that's probably a part of it too, because I remember in elementary school and junior high school, coming home Thursday nights, watching shows, Friday, TGI Friday, watching
Fridays, yes.
Saturday morning cartoons. Like I remember these things.
And that was a thing.
On Sunday, okay? You don't understand. Like Sister came on Sunday on UPN or ABC, one of them TV channels. And I was in front of the TV for 30 minutes.
See, I couldn't watch TV during the week, so most of my stuff came on the weekend. So I don't remember days of the week for everything because I'd have to record it.
Yeah.
VHS and then go back because that was before on demand. And DVR, I would record it and then not record over the wrong thing. But yeah, no. Sister was one of my favorites. Like, yeah. Go home, Roger.
The dynamic is funny because the dynamic between the twins, like Tia was the nerdy smart one, and then Tamara was the party fun girl. But then when you see them
in real life, it's like opposite.
It's like Tia's always out and about, and Tamara is holier than thou, and that's just like.
But I didn't watch all of the entire series, but when they had their reality show,
I watched it.
It did seem like Tamara had her time that she was like out there partying, doing whatever, and then it was like she was like, oh no,
yeah,
let me bring it all back in, and no, but yeah, it's. Yeah.
I watched their reality show. I thought it was real cute. I did. I thought it was super, super cute. I was like, oh, y'all are normal, just like everybody else.
Yes. Very, very normal.
Arguments on that reality show, and that's one of the reasons why they said they stopped it. But their arguments were like, nasty. Like they argued like sisters, and it was just I could understand them not wanting to have that image of them out there because their image has been so clean for so long. But you watched them.
Well, I mean, hey, they are sisters, but I would say that was one thing that the episodes I did see that I appreciated is that they were being themselves. They weren't like putting on this. There wasn't this like pretense of, okay, I'm gonna let you in my life, but I'm gonna show you my representative. Like they were themselves. And I was actually, I think it was a podcast I listened to or an article I read that Erica Campbell said the same thing about the reality show she did with her sister. Like for Mary Mary was the big part of why they stopped was because they would always paint it to be, you know, they would take the argument, but then it would they would edit it in a way to where one of them always, you know, one person was the villain or looked worse than they actually were. And so she was like, yeah, we couldn't keep doing that because it was, you know, it was affecting us in our real lives. So it's
I enjoyed that reality show also. What just a side note, one thing that I didn't like was when, and this was like at a time where social media was like a thing. Like everybody was commenting on social media, but people would say stuff like, oh, aren't they Christians? Why are they saying these things or showing these things and all this stuff? Oh, they curse. But it's like at the end of the day, people are people.
Right.
Like you live by an example and you try to be that best version of you that you can be. But when you put people on a pedestal to think that they're supposed to be this way all the time, and then you get disappointed, it's like, what did you expect? That's your
right. But then that's the part is like we're humans.
Right.
Christians are humans, and this whole picture or little whatever pedestal that people have made out to be of what Christianity is supposed to be or look like and sound like that's another lie that I would say as an adult I learned like, oh wait, y'all was lying to me and you didn't had me feeling like I gotta stay within this square. And if I step out, then I'm wrong and I'm messing up. And it's just like, yeah, no, that's not real life. That's not the way this works.
Right. It's like we gotta make mistakes. It is what it is. Okay. So let's get back on track. True.
All right. Because we've only talked about like 4.
I know. Family Matters.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being super bomb and 1 being
I mean, I'm gonna say it from my lens of when I watched it when I was younger. I would say like 7.
You would say like what?
It would be like a 7.
I would feel that too. Mine was like a 7, 8-ish because for me, when they were younger, I was bored. But as they started getting older, like once Jaleel White's character came into the frame and they started getting older and the teens were working and they were doing stuff that I could relate to more, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm with it. But when they were younger, I was just like, what? Okay. Carl.
Yeah, I think I missed, because it started in like 92, like, I believe I missed the initial part.
That show was a long time.
It was.
It was on from 89 to 98. Wow, that show was on for
right. So when it first started, I know I probably wasn't watching it that much because in 89,
we were like 1 and 2.
And I was out of the country. I wasn't living in the country.
Okay, right.
And then from 94 to 96, I wasn't in the country either. So the only way, a lot of the shows, I didn't see them in real time because people would record it and then send it to us. Mm-hmm. So I was like, and then if it did play, I do remember sometimes being able to watch episodes when we were there, but they would dub it over in Turkish.
Right.
And that.
No fluent Turkish.
No, but what was even more frustrating is if you really looked hard, you could read their lips and tell that they were speaking English.
Of course.
But the audio was over it in Turkish. And so it's just like, we tried a few times and then it just got frustrated. Like, man, forget it. Yes. Like, okay, I'm watching, but now I gotta, Yeah, no.
Put the sentence together and then laugh. Like, this is too much.
Right. So, but no, I would say they did. I feel like they did a really good job of like progressing.
Mm-hmm.
Like as the kids got older, in terms of like keeping the storyline going. Like some of the later, I won't say like the later seasons, it got a little far fetched with all the stuff that Urkel with Steve was doing with NASA and.
But what I can say though, that you bring that up, is that the technology that Steve was doing in 93 and 90, or not, no, what, 95?
Right.
And people are actually like doing that stuff now, like actually doing it. And we're like, Urkel's been doing this.
Right.
The genius that was writing these episodes years of, like, decades ago.
And I feel like all of them are underrated as actors, like the people who were on that show. Yeah. But definitely Jaleel White, like, because the stuff he was doing then, it was so different. I mean, granted, now when I look back at the episodes, I can clearly tell the difference between Steve and Stefan, but it was believable to me then. Like, it really felt like he was changing into a whole nother person.
But the genius behind Steve and Stefan, like, Jaleel White doesn't get his just due for that character. Because I remember the episode when he first turned into Stefan. That's when Laura was being selfish. Oh my God, I want Stefan.
Yes.
And they
and everything.
They went to dinner, and then Stefan was like, well, it could last a couple of days. It could last a few hours. He just wasn't aware. But the way that he transitioned from Stefan into Steve was flawless. Like, his posture, his mannerisms. Like, if you actually watch him go from this standing up straight to just how he just slowly transitioned into Steve, he doesn't get his credit, man. He played Steve, okay? Like,
no, he did. And it's just like, that's the part that I'm just like, even though, but I guess one of the things too, because now it comes on, I think it's TV One. It's on like every other day, which I love it. But excuse me, what, I forgot my train of thought. But no, I guess just it's like the nuance that he had and the nuances of the characters and how much. And it's like, that's what it was. I was thinking, like, could you imagine if they had the technology that's available today when they were making the show, like how much better or how much more he could have done in terms of that transformation.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, but I think about that too, but the authenticity.
Because
I feel like with our technology today, because sometimes technology waters down stuff. Like some of the movies, like when they start to remake movies from back then, and then they have all this technology and all that, like, it's cool, but sometimes it's just like,
yeah, it's a lot. There's definitely overkill with it sometimes. But that's a good point, because I think, specifically with him and Family Matters, that was him.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of makeup and costuming. Like, it was him. He brought, like, even playing Steve Urkel, like, knowing that the pitch of voice he was talking in is so far from his actual voice, and then switching. And I'm just like, I feel like I don't know if he got typecast, he got put in whatever, but it's just like,
he did his thing on that character. Like,
definitely.
That character is phenomenal. Like, anytime I specifically see that episode, it's the transition that he goes through, changing from Stefan to Steve, is just, he did a good job. Like,
yes. And without, like I said, without a lot of extras, like, it was him.
Out, just him. Like, no doubles, nothing. That's just all him. Like, he did a good job. Definitely did a good job. Wait. You might not remember this show. Let me see if you remember this show. Do you remember The Parenthood?
Yes.
Oh, I was about
you talking about Robert Townsend and yes.
with Reagan Gomez. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Definitely remember that one. That was one that I feel like it kind of snuck in there.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it was on that long, but I appreciated it.
What does it say? It was on for 4 years. It was on from 95 to 99. It was on with In the House. Remember In the House with LL Cool J? I
Yes,
used to get those two shows confused all the time because it was basically the same show.
they were similar.
Mhm.
I feel like Parenthood was very Afrocentric to an
Yeah.
extent,
Great.
but it was like they took the concept from the Cosby Show, but they modernized it, and then put much more emphasis on, well, this is how, like, what happens in, quote unquote Black House.
Right. Right.
And
Which
In the House,
the depiction of Black people that's wealthy.
would say,
I said I thought the Cosby Show was a good depiction of Black people that was wealthy. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the show personally, because you know how people always saying, "Well, Black people don't look like that. Black people." I don't know what Black people you know, but my family look just like them. We got lights and dark, darks.
yeah, I was gonna say I loved the Cosby Show, still appreciate it. But yeah, I agree. Like, it showed that, like, hey, Black families look like this too, or live like this too. Like, everybody's not poor, everybody's not in the hood, like, everybody's not in the ghetto. Like, there is a spectrum. We're not a monolith, and I appreciated that. And the same with the Parenthood. It was like, okay, we're doing well. They may not necessarily have been as wealthy as Heathcliff and Claire, but they were doing good. And then it was also, they had, was it TK was like a cousin or somebody that.
No, he was Lil Dante. You know Lil Dante, they take.
Right, but he wasn't there. Like, he was like a family member, somebody that had come to live with them.
No, he got in trouble. He went to school. I remember that episode only because I was watching like a couple days ago. He got in trouble. He was going to school with Zaria, and he did something to Robert Townsend's character, and the wife wanted him to get arrested, but then Robert Townsend was like, well, he's troubled or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was like homeless or some foolishness, something like that.
Yeah, they took him in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can't remember what the son's name was. I remember he had the braids.
Oh no, you're talking about the older son.
The older son, yeah, he had the braids that, like, he had little box braids, I think, or maybe they were dreads. The youngest son was Nicholas, I think was his name.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
The little daughter, I can't remember.
Yes. Zari? No. Yeah, I don't remember, but matter of fact, I was watching In the House this weekend because
Yikes.
I think it was Aspire had like a marathon.
In the House?
Yes. And I sat there, I had no plans, but it was just like I was scrolling through and I saw it, so I just thought it was going to be an episode. And then the rest of the night, I was watching In the House. And I was like, I forgot how much I enjoyed this.
Wasn't Debbie Allen on that show?
Yeah, she was on there. I think she was on there like consistently the first 2 seasons, and then because it was like her and her kids were living with him, right, with LL Cool J's character, paying rent to him. And then I forget what happened, but she ended up moving, I think, for a job. And so her and her son went, but their daughter Tiffany stayed.
Yeah. And
he was her guardian.
I'm sure.
And I was like, I forgot how much I enjoyed Kim Wayans and how funny she is.
She is so underrated as an actress. Oh my God. She's not. Remember her in Juwanna Mann?
Yes.
Listen, hilarious.
Because I was just like watching, I was like, oh my God, like, I knew she was funny and I knew I enjoyed her, but it was just like watching, it was like, oh wow, she does not get enough credit. Mm-hmm. And then even the fact that was Alfonso Ribeiro was like, oh, he went, I was like, I had forgotten that In the House came very shortly after Fresh Prince ended. So it was like, that was not a completely different role, but it was a different role, or like different from Carlton. He was still kind of like the stuffy, pretentious person, on In the House because he played the doctor, but it was him as as an adult or an older person as opposed to being the high school guy on Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
But that one I think that one was on for like 4 years too.
What's one of your favorite shows from the 90s? Because I watched all of them.
I mean, I feel like I watched most, but Living Single,
of course,
and Different World, I would probably have to say like my top two. Like, because to this day, if it's on, I watch it, even if I've seen that same episode 50 times. I will sit there and watch it like I haven't seen it before.
Yeah. It was on Hulu.
It is. It also comes on TV One like almost every day.
All the time.
Yeah, so I will do that. I'm trying to think. There's so many others. Did we talk about what is you mentioned TGI Friday. Did you watch Step by Step?
Of course. Step by step.
Day by day. And then I always loved they were on the they were at the amusement park and they went down like the roller coaster as a part of it. What else?
What was with the neighbor? Remember the neighbor? He was always
Home Improvement.
Home Improvement.
Yes. That one.
Favorite. Clarissa Explains It All. I watched that. Whoa. No, that was Blossom.
That was Blossom. But watch that too. Yeah, Clarissa Explains It All, Blossom, Alex Mack. Like the Adventures of Alex Mack. She would like turn into the little puddle. Morph into like puddle of stuff. Pete, was it Pete and Pete on Nickelodeon? Pete and Pete, I think was one of them. The Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years.
Wonder Years.
Wow.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Scared the shit out of me. Okay.
Yeah, but now I look at it, it's like.
When I used to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, I would legit be sitting with like.
And it felt like it came on real late, but it was probably like 8:30.
Right, but it'd be pitch black outside. I watch it now. I'm like, what was you scared of?
Exactly.
Are You Afraid of the Dark scared the living lights out of me. You hear me? Did you watch Goosebumps?
I watched Goosebumps.
I had every single Goosebumps.
Not religiously, but I did watch it. What else was on Nickelodeon? All That.
I won't get into that, girl. That was my show.
Okay.
What was that show? It's right here. Hold on. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Did you watch that?
I watched that. Did you watch?
Lied to Me Too.
Huh?
Lied to Me Too.
Oh, most definitely. Did you watch The Famous Jet Jackson?
Of course.
I'm trying to remember if that was like, that might have been into the 2000s.
99, 2000.
Yeah, into 2000s. Like
into like Even Stevens and
Hilary Duff, yeah. But it's like that. I feel like the early 2000s was an extension of the 90s.
It was. Because you were still wearing the same things that they were wearing in 97 and 98.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't really start to shift until maybe like 03, 04.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, we are no longer in the 90s. Because I want to say, I think it was the same with That's So Raven was early 2000s also.
It came out in 98. Yeah, That's So Raven came out in like 2000 or 2001 or something.
Yeah.
That was my show. But Jet Jackson came out in 98, so he's classic 90s baby.
Yes.
It was heartbreaking when I found out that he died, remember?
Yes, I was so sad.
It's like, dang, Jet, what happened?
You're like, what's going on?
Did you watch, I don't know why Jet Jackson made me think of this daggone movie. Did you watch, oh my goodness, Petus Lapidus. What is that show? What is that movie? Xenon, the girl of the 21st century. Did you watch that movie?
Yeah. I figured it had to be something Disney when you said Zetus Lapidus.
Yeah, because I remember Raven saying Zetus Lapidus or whatever she said. You're not the girl of the 21st century.
Yes.
They lied to me too because I thought I would be in cyberspace, but I'm still.
It is 2020. I feel like we are missing so many. We mentioned Martin and Fresh Prince.
Briefed over it, but the genius of Martin, since you brought it up, the genius of that show and the cameos on that show.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's that man's name? Kid from Kid and Play.
Like that episode literally like popped in my head when you said it.
Jodeci. Remember that episode of Jodeci? Listen.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Who else did he have on there? Arsenio Hall, Tommy Davis.
Davidson. Heavy D was on there.
R.I.P. Heavy D. R.I.P. Do you know Tommy? Every character that Tommy played, his name was Tommy. I bet you didn't know that.
I didn't know everyone. I knew there was a lot of them. He has also passed away.
He has also passed away. And Cockroach, he was on Martin. What is his name? He was the friend.
Oh,
you know that's Cockroach from the Cosby
you
Show.
said it and then it went away. Oh my gosh.
I remember his name.
Tommy Cole.
Cole.
I was like, I know this. And then you said Cockroach, and I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, no.
Cockroach all grown up.
Right.
Ham's character. And then we had Shanae, we had Bob, we had the snot-nosed little boy.
Jerome,
Mr. Otis, Silence, that guy. I can't remember his name.
Me neither. Silence. But it was.
Listen, the 90s era was like from the year we was born, and I don't even give 87. I'll say.
Well, I was born in 87, so don't do that.
You are, because I'm 88. You're right. So we'll do this. That's
okay.
What because I was thinking about 89. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 86 to like 2006. That was a good time. It was good quality TV on TV.
What? TV, movies,
everything. Like
books.
It was good.
But once again, I believe that that's because we hadn't. Well, I won't say the internet wasn't created yet in '86, but at least it was not
everywhere.
It was not everywhere. It was not common. Like the internet, cell phones, like
this used to be the cell phones. It would be this big. Hello.
Right, and the one in the car where you had the whole case. So, like, I think that's a big part of it is that we grew up in the transitional period.
We literally grew up with technology.
Yeah, so it's like even computers. Like I remember using a typewriter.
Hey,
when I was younger,
still has the typewriter.
Why?
Turning the thing.
Yes, and then don't make a mistake.
Got to get the white out.
Yes, and then push it over. So like I remember that cassette tapes and having to. I saw a picture or a meme the other day, and it was like a cassette tape and a pencil. It's like, if you don't know how these things are connected, you're too young. Go to bed.
Hello, be in a cassette tape like this.
Right, or recording something off the radio, and like.
Listen, I remember like I used to make mixtapes. Okay, I grew up in New York, so that was our thing. We used to make mixtapes. Had the boombox ready, put my tape in the tape deck, and be listening to the radio like this. All right, play. I can record. Okay, right. Record.
Mm-hmm. And then you miss it. It comes on, and then you don't get it at the beginning, so you gotta wait till it plays again.
Listen, these kids don't know. You hear me?
Also playing outside was also like a regular thing.
It was a big thing.
Like jumping rope.
With the not the extension cords, the long phone wires.
Oh yeah.
The long phone wires up to the gate and turning double dutch. Listen, these kids don't
jumping rope, like 4 square, 2 square, all the different little hand games, tag, hide and seek. I got plenty of scars on my legs from hide and seek and tag.
These kids don't know. They don't know. I remember to this day, when we got a cable box. Okay, I remember when we got a cable box. I remember when my parents brought home a computer. AOL dial-up. Are you serious? You were talking if you had 2 phone lines.
Right, because then you didn't have to get off.
Girl.
Like, excuse me, I need to make a phone. I need to make a phone call. Get off the internet, or can you get off the phone because I need to look something up.
You had to take the disc, the CD, put it in the computer, let that thing load up, and then you got to call. I don't even remember how to.
Yeah, you had a code or a number you had to put in.
It'd be 68 million numbers.
Yeah.
They don't know. They would not survive. The kids that I work with, I tell them all the time, y'all would not survive how I grew up.
Oh, I know for a fact they wouldn't.
I showed them the first iPhones today. Remember the first iPhones was like this big? This is
this thick.
This is a 10. Them kids wouldn't. That first iPhone was this big. It was like this big on my hand. It was like, Miss Hayes, that's not a phone. What is it? This is the first iPhone. It wasn't big.
But even remember before the iPhone, the iPod, like how thick the iPod was when it first came out.
With the spinning dial?
Yep. I still have my my iPod Nano.
Oh wow. I lost mine.
I have it and it's still in its little case. But I don't do anything with it.
I lost mine, remember the phone, because I had the phone. Remember the Sprint phone when, like, you remember like when phones were finally able to connect to the internet, but it was a Sprint phone that was able to connect to Nextels. And
the chirp.
The chirp, the Nextels from the Sprint phone.
Yeah. I used to want one just so I could do the chirping because one of my friends had it. I'd be like, can you just do it?
That's it. They don't know it. Ring back.
When text messages, you pay per text and your minutes, and you had to wait till I think it was after 7. Everybody else was after 9, so your minutes were free. Like, don't be calling me before this time, using up my minutes.
At first, until Mom changed the plan, I'd be like, listen, call me after 9. I got an hour. But then she got a new plan, so I had call me after 7. I had 2-3 hours.
Nah.
After them text messages was used, that's it.
And then don't waste my text with the one letter response. Because you got charged for receiving. So yeah. I remember we'd be like, oh wait, I'm almost out. So I'm gonna just turn my phone off, or I'm not gonna open it. Because if I open it, they're gonna charge me.
You still get charged.
It's like, look, if you gonna send me a text message, I'm gonna need you to put it's gonna need to be worth that 5 cents that I gotta pay to receive it.
Yes.
And now people be like, don't send me a long text.
Yes.
Like, you just don't know.
You don't know. And them yellow screens, the screens was the color of this wall. The kids don't know. Y'all got all this fancy stuff, full screens. You can watch a whole movie on the phone. Listen, y'all don't know.
You had to
don't know. Okay.
You had the full keyboard and texting. You had to hit all the buttons.
Go to 7 and be like.
And you went too far. Then you got to delete it. Yeah.
Oh, they don't know.
The 90s.
Yes. I remember my first cell phone. I swear, it was a flip phone. It was probably the size of this phone, but you flipped it up.
The flip phone was.
Look at this big old thing on my head.
If you had one, that was like you would. Oh yes, flip it and pull the antenna up. You was doing something. Girl. You was big time if you had that.
Big time. Remember, speaking of cell phones, I don't know why it just came into my head. Remember, sister, when Diabion, when she was frauding on her phone, when one of the girls was like, "Can I use your phone?" She was like, "Girl, this phone been off since." The phone was so big. I was like,
yeah. No, you said that, and I remembered in terms of like shows from the 90s. I don't know how long it was on, but Malcolm and Eddie.
I do remember Malcolm and Eddie. I really didn't watch it, but I do remember Malcolm and Eddie.
And then one that was like even shorter lived was Homeboys at Outer Space.
Never watched.
I watched it. I watched some of it. But yeah.
You know what we did not talk about? Sir Fox and the Jamie Foxx show.
Oh, yes. How did we?
Phenomenal program. I said the Jamie Foxx show was a phenomenal program.
Oh, yes.
They didn't really have a lot of cameos on that show. Like the only ones that I really remember is Mary J. Blige and Mr. Biggs, but I don't really remember.
Jodeci.
Jodeci was on there.
Jodeci, because remember he went on tour with. I think it was Jodeci, because he went on tour with them, and then got too big for his britches.
Yeah, and then they sent him home.
Right, real quick.
That
that song, the wedding song he sang, is like amazing, and I still might, whenever I get married, I still might want it played.
I like that wedding song, but the wedding song with Kyle and Khadijah.
Oh,
that song.
I had forgotten about that.
Mm-hmm. That one's gonna be my song. That song that Kyle and Khadijah sang, I was so. This is beautiful.
It is.
That one was my song.
So many moments.
There was so many moments. I'm sitting here thinking about Moesha, just thinking about the cameos.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was on Netflix now, and I'm watching it. I'm like, yo, Moesha had hella cameos. Like every episode,
it was somebody.
From I think season 2, there was always a cameo. Like she has so many cameos. Ohaji, Usher, what's that fool? The boy from Onyx. That was her boyfriend. Mary J. Blige, Monica. I want to say R. Kelly was on there. I'm not sure.
He was on one of them shows. If not that one.
Russell Simmons. So many people. MTV, BET. The country singer. What was her name? The Kim was she loved her. What was her name? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of country singers.
I want to say Lorraine, but her name was
LeAnn Rimes?
LeAnn Rimes.
Okay.
Yes. LeAnn Rimes.
Speaking of Moesha, the Parkers, the spinoff. You didn't like the Parkers?
Problematic for me. Now, in essence, the Parkers was a good show, but it was problematic for me because when Kimberly Ann Parker was on Moesha.
Not Kimberly Ann Parker. Okay, we're using her full name.
Whole government. When Kimberly Parker was on Moesha, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was not a ditz. She was not.
That is true. She was very smart.
She was, and then she goes to the Parkers, and I'm like,
when did you become this ditzy? Yeah.
She was not like this on Moesha. That was the only thing that was problematic for me. And Ogilvy, Professor Ogilvy, because when Nikki Parker was Nicole, when she was about to get married, now all of a sudden you love her. You want to ruin the wedding day.
Now that part, as much as we were talking about the TV lies, that part is pretty accurate to real life.
Yeah.
Like now that I've moved on and I got my stuff together, now you want to come back and now you want me. That part is pretty accurate.
Then I've been telling you we got a special thing going on, and now that you see me happy and getting ready to be in love and have kids, now you want to come ruin my wedding. Speaking of ruined weddings, another show that lied. Okay, you already know what I'm gonna say. I'm throwing my tissues. Dwayne, really, Dwayne, really? So this is what we doing? We ruining weddings.
As much as I know that is problematic in real life, like that was one of my favorite moments of the show. But I am convinced that's why Daddy Pope was so evil, because he was still mad that Dwayne took her. She left him at the altar.
Yeah.
And he had to go join and start B613 and be all evil. Like
Dwayne ruined that man.
Because Whitley didn't really want him to begin with her.
I'm not going to put it all on Dwayne, even though Whitley did give him multiple times to be like, listen, bro, I'm going to marry this man. What you
what
want?
people do.
But
But
at the time, Whitney knew she ain't want to marry Daddy Pope.
she
But
did. She was doing it. She was doing it because of his status and the money, and that's, that was the type of person that she felt like she should be with. And her mom was all excited. Diane Carroll they had a bunch of cameos too.
And what's it call it? Dwayne's mama, Patty
Patty Bell, yeah. But no, because even I remember she was like, she does. She said, and the minister was like, no, it has to come from her.
The pastor said,
I do. I will.
But Ron, remember Ron in that scene? Ron was a thug, though. Ron was like, "Oh, wait now, my boy's confessing his love.
You need to chill out. I don't care what y'all got to say. You can wait."
I was so mad at Dwayne. Whitley gave him a whole week's worth of episodes to be like, "I want to be with you," and she said, "Dwayne, I won't marry this man. Tell me what you want to do."
Crickets.
My wedding day? Dwayne.
Mm-hmm. Problematic. That's why it's like we put Dwayne and Whitney on this pedestal for so long, but it's like now as we're older, it's like, hold up, y'all are problematic. BK, I'll say you were frozen. I don't know if that was on my end or not.
Oh no, I don't know. I was going like this the whole time, agreeing with you.
It was me. But yeah. There were quite a few like relationships that we felt like, oh, that's great. Or, people talked about it like it was great. Like Martin and Gina.
I was getting ready to ask you, wait, before you go there, pick your favorite 2 relationships from the 90s. Yeah, there's a lot of good relationships, so I'm gonna just do 2. Your favorite 2.
I'm trying to go through all of them.
Because I was gonna say 5, but then I felt like we would probably have a lot of similar ones.
Okay, so one that comes to mind right away that I think was healthy and I liked was Sinclair and Overton.
Okay.
So wait, we're saying our favorite ones or like just the ones that were really good?
Your top 2, like the ones that touch your soul. Your top 2 relationships from the 90s. Did I lose you? I think I lost you. Can you see me? Okay.
No, I'm here. Sorry. I got real, I guess. Even though it was. Okay, I'm gonna say something. This is different. I just thought about this.
Okay.
Steve and Laura.
Okay.
That's weird. But yeah, I'm gonna just go different. Because I just said how problematic Dwayne and Whitley were.
Laura made that relationship problematic.
Oh, Laura, most definitely. I guess I should say the last few seasons of and Steve touched my heart, but they weren't my favorite all along.
Mine 2 that touched my heart. Of course, Moesha and Q. Only because I relate to Moesha and Q because I had a Q. And then I always wore braids. I'm still wearing braids.
Did he call you Shorty too?
No, he used to call me Fats.
Oh, okay.
He used to call me Fats. So that one is like my special one.
Right.
The other one is Tamara and Jordan.
I forgot all about them.
Jordan.
I loved them. I mean, I liked Tamara and Jordan and Tia and
No, they were problematic for me.
I liked them, but what I was like in thinking about this and just trying to answer the question, I'm like, the ones I liked, it was problematic. Like it was struggle love. And I really like, but that was like, oh, I want that. But knowing what I know now, it's like, no, I don't.
Right. It's like, I don't want to work this hard for love.
I don't want this. Because I was gonna say Jamie and Fancy, but that was
problematic too. It's like that was, it's a reoccurring theme, except for Gina and Mark. No, I can't even say that either because they had a moment also. I think the only one might be Sinclair and Overton. But everybody, whether the white sitcoms or the black sitcoms, had the same problem. Nobody could say, I love you and I want to be with you.
Right. Because like Corey and Topanga, but they definitely had their stuff.
Their issues.
But I will say, when they were in high school, it was more ideal. But when they got old, as they...
Yeah.
So it's like on some levels... But I would know, matter of fact, I would say that is also a part of the way that the shows lie to us, in the sense that it was always portrayed that true love, you got to have a fight. There's got to be a struggle. You got to go through some things. So then you really know he loves you or she loves you and she's there for you. And it's just like, I get it. Life is not easy and relationships take work, but why do they really got to take all of this? Like, I realize, I'm like, dang. I realized how much of the lie that I bought into, because even in just different relationships, it's like feeling like, oh, well, okay, if there's struggle, that means, okay, he really cared about me. And in the end, it's going to be like Dwayne and Whitley, and it's going to be like Martin and Gina, because in the end, they were together, and they were, quote unquote, happily ever after, but all of the things that they went through to get to that point. Another one that I just thought about that I think wasn't problematic was when, on A Different World, when Kim started dating the guy who was in med school with her. Or I don't even know if he was in med school, but it was like towards the end. He was a dark-skinned guy. I think he was supposed to have been Jamaican, or he was West Indian. Yeah. Like that one. Yeah. It didn't get a lot of screen time. But I feel like that was one that was like a healthy one.
No, dang, I can't even say they weren't problematic because they had a tiff. It was small. I was gonna say Will and Nia Long's character, but Will, they weren't like super problematic. Will just had a roaming eye. He was just like being a man.
But I think theirs was closer to healthy in terms of realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically all of them were realistic to an extent, because people do really be going through these things and staying with, dating for years and years before it's, okay, no, I really want to be with you. We're going to get married, this whole thing. Like, so there was there's some reality to all of it.
Yeah. For sure.
But I think the part where the lie comes in is that whether it was explicitly or implicitly said, it was like, you should aspire to this type of a relationship because we're going to glorify this. And essentially, as long as in the end you end up together, then everything else was worth it. And that's just a part of it. And
right. It's
all good in the end. And it's just like, but do I really want to go through all of that to get there?
One thing I did like about Will and Nia's character, their situation, was that, how usually in sitcoms and movies, it's like the woman, oh my God, I want to get married. And Nia's character was like, nah, fam, like, I want to finish school. I don't mind being engaged. I'm not going to marry you right now. But they did get to a point where they was about to get married. Yeah. And then they kind of wheeled it back a little bit. So I appreciated that aspect, that Nia wasn't overzealous in the what is it, the fantasy of getting married. He was just like, okay, we can get married, I'll be engaged, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Versus everybody else is all crazy about
when we get married, and it's just like, don't get me wrong, I want to be married, but that is not something that
is
from
on
day one.
the list.
Yeah, I would say it's closer to the top now at this point in life than it was then. Because before it was definitely not like I got things that I'm doing and this is the focus.
Right.
You fit in where you fit in.
Right.
And if we can fit this in, then cool. But
you know what's funny, just a side note, you know what's funny? You remember how when we were in our 20s, like mid-20s, late-ish 20s, you know how people be like, oh, you're not married, you don't have kids. Why you not married? Why you don't have kids? But now it's a 30-something-year-old, you like, dang, kind of need to get some kids.
right. And I was going to say, maybe those questions have stopped for you, but with my family, they have not. I still get the, like, matter of fact, not too long ago, like I saw some family and it was like, so you don't have a boyfriend? No. You don't want one? No, that's not what I said. Just not that I don't want one. It's just, it's not fact or reality right now. And I'm not going to just be with somebody for the sake of saying that I have one. So, but yeah, no, that is an interesting, or even I would say going back to the, stuff from the 90s, quote unquote, you're supposed to be married with family.
By like 25. Like,
right. Or you're a spinster. Right. And I'm like, but in the same, I would say in the same way that I said, like, we grew up in the transitional phase of society.
Yeah.
I think we're representative of that in the sense that I can say the majority of people in my circle or in my age group are not married or don't have children, or some do have children, but everybody's not married. And like, that's not the norm anymore.
Right.
It's the norm is shifting to be that you don't get married in your 20s. Like you are getting married or getting into a long-term relationship and having children in your 30s. Like, that's becoming.
It's cycling back to that, because I remember when my mom, growing up, she would say, you had your girls that was out there or whatever, but the majority of her age group didn't start getting married and having kids until they were in their 30s. But then that dynamic went the other way, where people started having kids early, younger, not getting married. Mm-hmm. And now it's like us, like you said, we're in that transitional age where we're more career oriented or want to be entrepreneurs or whatever the case is, that we have to have this done first. And then it's like, okay, so now we can circle back. And so what's up? What you trying to do?
Right, because it's like, now I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready.
Right, listen.
Not necessarily right away, but
these things hot.
Like I said, it's much higher on the list of priorities.
Right.
But it's interesting. And I'm trying to think if there were any shows from the 90s where that was the topic. But even I'm thinking about Living Single, it wasn't the priority, but it was always a part of the conversation, specifically with Regine about getting married and like having a man.
Yeah.
But I think they were supposed to be in like their mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
I said they were portrayed pretty young on this show, but that is a point, because when I'm sitting here thinking about it, they were all working, but when Sinclair came to New York, she was focusing on her acting career. Khadijah wanted to make sure that her magazine crashed burned. And Max, she was trying to, do the lawyer thing, getting it going. Even the guys too, though. The guys were being guys, but they were very career oriented.
Yes, and I think So I think that was one of the things that I guess made that show different or stand out at the time, is because that was, I guess that was a first, or that was new in terms of that perspective. Whereas now most people are focused on their career or some level of that, but it is interesting.
Other guys came. We know who the other guys are.
Hmm?
I said, then the other guys came trying to do the same show.
Mm.
The other guys.
And then one more, they should make a Black Friends. No, y'all made a white living single, or you tried to make a white living single.
Wait, I have a good one for you. You might crack up. I'm gonna see if you can guess it first before I say it. The only hint I'm gonna give you is Disney Channel.
Wait, what?
That's the only hint I'm gonna give you.
For a show?
It was a show in the 90s. Yeah. I'll give you another hint. It was a black show in the 90s on Disney Channel.
I don't know if this was Disney or Nickelodeon, but Gullah Gullah Island is coming to mind.
I was not thinking.
I don't know. You said a black show on the Disney Channel.
Gullah Gullah Island.
I mean, it's a black show, and it was the 90s.
Smart Guy Girl.
Oh, that was Disney. That wasn't Disney Channel.
What was it?
That was like WB or whatever. It's on Disney Plus now.
It's on Disney now.
But it wasn't on Disney. That's why I was like, a black show on Disney Channel?
Disney brought all these TV shows. And
yeah, I was like, huh? Oh, Smart Guy was definitely.
Smart Guy.
I love Smart Guy. They had a good amount of cameos too.
Destiny's Child cameo.
You know what? Maybe that's the only one. Let me stop. I remember that one, but
that was the only big name.
That might have been the only one. Jason Weaver's another one that I feel like doesn't get his credit.
Listen, if he had the right music people behind him, I think he would have been pretty good.
Possibly, but and I'm also wondering, because I saw an interview he did, I think it was last year, talking about how his mom negotiated his contract for The Lion King, and that he didn't get a whole lot of money up front, but she negotiated that he got part of the royalties.
Oh, that's good.
So he's good.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it is that he just didn't really feel like he had or needed to, because, and I don't know, because I know he did that song with Chingy. And yeah. But I wonder if it's did he ever really want to do music and it just didn't happen, or he wasn't that pressed?
Because he had
off of Lion King alone, he's good. Mm-hmm. He did the Jackson 5 story.
I was getting ready to say that, and he was Lil Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he was Lil Michael Jackson. He was in the Lion, or he sang sang and was in the Lion King. Mm-hmm. Then he had Smart Guy.
Well, I thought Jason Weaver sang Simba, but I thought the little white boy from Home Improvement was the voice. I thought that's how they did it.
I don't know, that. I don't know for sure. I know that he sang. I don't remember whether or not he was in it or not.
Every time they open the vault, he gets another couple $1 million. He's good.
And they remade it, and anytime it gets sampled.
So Jason, he's definitely good. He's good.
And if his mom negotiated that kind of deal for that, I'm sure she had something pretty decent for the Jackson 5 movie too. Mm-hmm. And for Smart Guy. Mm-hmm. And he was in a couple. He did a lot of the BET movies, or the independent movies.
Thingamajig. You know Thingamajig.
ATL and talking about that movie?
He was in ATL. What? I was thinking a lottery ticket. He wasn't.
Oh. He was in that too. So yeah, he's done a lot of those types of things, and I'm wondering, is it because he didn't really want to do more, or was it that was, what happened? But
Right. Yeah, I got another good one for you. You're gonna crack up at this one. Are you ready for this?
I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm gonna give you another hint.
Oh goodness.
And you probably not gonna get it, but I'm gonna give you another hint. Black sitcom, Nickelodeon, and it's not Kenan and Kel.
Oh, My Brother and Me.
Wow, I completely forgot
Or
about
Cousin Skeeter.
Cousin Skeeter was what I was thinking about. Wow, My Brother and Me. Oh my gosh, wasn't that Rashad? Richard, what is his name? Wasn't
Ricard.
he Ricard?
He was in Cousin Skeeter.
He wasn't in My Brother and Me. I'm thinking
That was Megan Good was in Cousin Skeeter. Amanda Seales was in My Brother and Me. I only know that because she said it in an interview. I had forgot. And then I had to go back and look at a clip, and it was like, oh, shoot, she was the sister.
I'm about to look this up right now. My brother.
Right. But, yeah, I want to say Ricard, whatever his name is, was in Cousin Skeeter.
Definitely was in.
And Megan Good. Yeah, Robert Ricard was in Cousin Skeeter.
I don't remember this TV show at all. I'm looking at this. My Brother and Me. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, Alfie and Goo. Matter of fact, they lived in Charlotte, or at least in North Carolina. They were in North Carolina.
Oh wow. I'm gonna have to find that show and watch it. That is funny. My Brother and Me.
Oh, it was only one season. It was in 94. I didn't realize it had.
95. You took me back on that one. Wow. Okay. We have to talk about this before. I can't even say that because I'm looking at my list and it's. Okay. I'm gonna just say them because these are phenomenal TV shows. First one, Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Oh, how did we? Yes.
Next, One-on-One.
Yeah.
You like One-on-One?
I mean, I liked it. Not as much as the others, but I liked it. I did watch it.
Oh, well, we briefed over Kenan and Kel, but did you watch Kenan and Kel?
Yes. And all that.
Of course. It's all. You know, another thing, speaking of all that, remember how a lot of the shows in the 90s always had a musical guest?
Yes.
Or like a music person that just performed on the TV?
Mm-hmm.
Good times back then, man.
Nick Cannon does that with Wildin' Out.
Mm-hmm.
Most episodes he has somebody.
You know, that we don't even have Wildin' Out anymore.
Did they cancel that too?
Oh, what? You didn't.
I know that the stuff, but I didn't know if they were.
Girl, Viacom ripped that thing down so fast. Let me tell you how I found out, right? I was mad because I do watch Wildin' Out just to see what the kids is listening to. So I'm waiting for Wildin' Out to come on one night. I'm like, why am I looking at the Fresh Prince? And it's just Fresh Prince.
Oh, shoot.
And then I'm scrolling on Twitter, and it was like Nick Cannon, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dang, what did Nick say? And then I said, well,
I mean, I knew about that, but I was hoping that Wildin' Out got spared because, like, he created that, and I hope he has ownership of that or some level of ownership.
Because he cannot take Wildin' Out, according to Viacom. He cannot take Wildin' Out to another Viacom network. No NBC, no VH1, no ABC, no NBC, no Lifetime, no WeTV, no Rock, nothing. I saw that statement. I was like, oh, so Viacom, man.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just saying he can't take it to one of their channels or just to no one?
But see, like you said, I don't know if he owns.
I need to look this up.
But as far as like it going to another Viacom station, it can't go to another Viacom station.
Well, yeah, I figured it wouldn't I figured they wouldn't let it go to another Viacom station.
Mm-hmm.
I just found an article. I'm gonna have to read that later because
Yeah, I saw that post. I was like, oh, so y'all are big, man. Y'all are
I
not.
knew. Well, yeah, because that's just like, okay, does he really own it? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that's okay. Another show from the '90s.
Wild 'N Out came on where we was in high school, and that was like the thing.
Yeah, when it first started.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I don't know if we didn't talk about was the Wayans brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't like that one.
Hate that television show.
Why do you hate it?
Oh my gosh. And everybody's like, why do you hate the Wayans brothers? The Wayans brothers was such coonery. It drove me.
But it's the way. I mean, like, I'm not gonna. It's definitely not one of my like all time. Like, it's not high, but it was decent. Like, it was good laughs, but it was, to me, it was on brand with what the Wayans do.
Coonery. Well, those two anyways. I don't
Well,
want to say all
those,
no, I just
Marlon specifically is like, he's extremely talented and smart, but he's like goofy as all get out.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, when
I thought he was so cute.
yeah, but it was like he just does the most. And he still does the most with his movies and things. But that was one thing in watching In the House this weekend, seeing how much they're such a Kim and Marlon are so similar in appearance and even in their like the physical comedy. But yeah, that was one. I'm trying to think.
I wanted to fight Sean. Like, Sean, you're not that cute.
Well, yeah, no, Sean was.
Stop it.
I don't know what the word is, but
Since you brought up the Wayans brothers, let's discuss the fashion for a second. Because
they took it to the extreme of the baggy clothes.
but all the guys was wearing their clothes like that, though. Even if you think of like Rockefeller and them, like the
That
music.
was the style. You remember the tall tees? Huh?
You remember Genuine and the Genuine wore baggy bootcut jeans or something. I'm like, what?
And then the shirt that was like 2-3 times too big.
And then wait, my favorite part of that was the oversized fitteds. Remember the oversized?
They had to come all the way down.
And they would wear it backwards, and you can go like this, put two fingers up in the hat.
Yes.
What were we wearing in the late 90s? And it transpired into the early 2000s.
Pretty much every bad boy video.
Tall tees, long jerseys. The jerseys. Why the jerseys? First of all, your jersey's supposed to stop at your waist.
You're supposed to go down to your knees. You didn't know that?
It's supposed to go down to your knees. A grown man that is about 6'3" should not be wearing a t-shirt down to his knees. Where do you find a shirt that long? In Shaq's closet?
Foot Locker, Foot Action,
Gosh.
Finish Line, all of them.
But
you remember, you used to be able to get them. It would be like 5 for $25.
Everywhere.
I was also buying those too. I wasn't buying the tall ones.
I'm not gonna lie, I had some too. However, I'm ashamed now to say.
Oh yeah, no, and even in my attempts to try to be a tomboy as much as they weren't gonna let me. Matter of fact, I have like from basketball. We remember he would always get we'd have shirts like that we wore for like pregame or whatever. I still had some of those, and they still fit like regular. Like, I have shirts from high school that they now fit regular because I had gotten them that big then. And it's just like, this makes no sense. This makes no sense at all.
So
but yeah, I'm happy that phase seems to have exited, and I hope it does not return.
But wait, here's the kicker, right? They had the audacity to wear belts with those oversized pants.
But how else was it gonna stay up?
Why are you buying your pants that big anyway?
Because that was the style. Duh.
If I had to choose, I'm gonna be honest. If I had to choose between the oversized bootcut jeans and skinny jeans, I'd take the oversized bootcut jeans.
Oh yeah, no. Because to me, there is a fine line between fitted and skinny. And a lot of these guys now are buying skinny but claiming they're fitted.
Buying my jeans.
Yes, and they don't have the body for it. But it's like all these, and that's a whole other, that could be a whole other topic. But it's just like, 'cause I appreciate a fitted look. I appreciate a guy who, like if it's not necessarily always tailored, but yeah, you buy your clothes that fit you. I like that look. I appreciate that. Sure. But then when I can see that your thighs and your calves are struggling.
You walking like this?
Yeah, and then trying to put your hands in your pocket and you can't. Or everything is sticking out. Or your shirt is, you think you're a medium, but you're not. And it's not muscular. It don't look like it does when The Rock put his on. It's just rolls hanging over the skinny jeans.
I look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? That shirt might be a little too tight. I feel like you should look in the mirror and say, this shirt might be a little too small.
And my other thing is, I know you can feel it. Because when you gotta keep doing this and you adjusting, like, sir, I know this life because I've been living this life my whole life. You're new to this. It's too tight. And now I don't care if it is the fashion trend right now. It's not the one for you. Or if you're going to do it, I need you to buy it in your actual size.
Absolutely. Know your body.
So yes, when it comes to that, yes, bring back the baggy clothes or the baggy jeans at the very least.
Did you have a jersey dress?
I did not. My sister did.
Yeah, my jersey dress was fine.
I know that you had one because I feel like there was a time when y'all came to school in matching.
Probably.
Well, it wasn't the dresses, but y'all did have matter of fact,
airbrush shirts. That's what you talk about.
Yes, I found a picture when I was home the last time of y'all, and I was showing my mom.
Yeah. Listen.
And y'all had the hats too.
Yeah. Did you have I think I got a picture of you in a denim outfit. You had a denim outfit, right?
I definitely had a denim outfit.
The denim outfits was popping. Denim skirts, denim jacket.
Still have a denim jacket. I got like a denim t-shirt dress or something. Or it's like,
what?
A button or something. It looks better than how I'm describing it. But it's something denim.
Because I'm like a denim t-shirt dress.
Not a t-shirt dress. It's almost like, I guess, like if it was a button up.
Oh yeah.
And it's got a belt. So yeah, like I said, it looks better than how I'm describing it. But
I was about to say, ma'am.
Like, I need you to throw that away.
What are we doing?
And not return. I'm trying to think if there are any other shows that we have.
I don't know. I was thinking Girlfriends, but the Girlfriends was 2000s.
Yeah, that was 2000. Was the
2000s.
Was the Hughley show 2000s also?
Yeah, the Hughleys. Wow, I don't know.
I feel like that and the Bernie Mac show were like 2000s.
Was Bernie Mac 2000s?
I don't know. Like they were right. They're in that. So yeah, the Hughley started in 98 and it had 4 seasons.
The Bernie Mac show 2001 to 2006. Oh, remember? No, that's probably 2000s also. Why does these shows keep escaping my tongue? Excuse me, what is the show that was based on Will Smith's life with
All of Us.
All of Us.
I think that was That was back when UPN was
Still a channel.
that, and it was all the black shows were on it.
Listen,
That was 2003.
that all the black shows, you can find them either on the WB.
UPN.
You know what we didn't talk about? Steve Harvey.
Yeah. Oh, I had that thought earlier. Steve Harvey, definitely.
Steve Harvey show.
Steve Harvey show.
That was a good show.
I feel like there was something else on at that time.
Steve Harvey. That's what I was just thinking about. Something else came out around that time. The 90s was popping, man. The 90s was such a good time. It was like fun. You had something to look forward to in the 90s. What else came out?
And it probably was because we were young and we didn't have no real responsibilities.
That's true, because you know how back in the day your parents be like, oh my God, your music you listen to is so annoying. And then I hear myself saying that with my kids now, the kids that I work with, I'm like, what are you listening to? Like, this is trash. And then I'm like, oh my God, I sound like my mother.
Yeah, so Steve Harvey show was 96 to 2002. I didn't realize it had been on that long. It was on that long.
Yeah, that's a long time.
I don't know if you remember Me and the Boys.
I have no idea what that is, actually.
It came up when I looked up Steve Harvey. It was only one season.
Did we talk about Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
You mentioned it, but we didn't really go into it. But that was a great show.
Yeah. And then when Raven got on the show, when she was a little bit older, that was a good show. I like that show, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I can't remember the theme song, but Hanging with Mr. Cooper was fun.
I did like it. I like that one. I also, in looking up Steve Harvey, remembered the Apollo was on.
Like Showtime at the Apollo? Yeah, that was good.
There were also a lot of great movies from the 90s, but
yeah, that's like a whole nother.
Yeah, so hanging
watch because okay, oh my gosh. Okay, so it was when reality shows started to become a thing. When the Real World first premiered, but there was a show on Disney Channel in the 90s. It was it was like Camp Walla Walla.
Nowhere. Camp Nowhere?
I can't remember what it was called, but when I tell you, I was like, I'm going to that camp. Period. I'm going to that camp.
I think it was Camp Nowhere or.
I can find it. I want to say it was Camp Walla Walla though, or it had something with a W. I feel like. Let me see. Camp.
I appreciate Google, even though we didn't have it.
Right. We were still going to the library. These kids don't know nothing about.
Oh wait, Camp Nowhere was a movie.
Camp reality TV show.
Disney Channel.
It was on the Disney Channel. I used to watch it all the time. It was on the Disney Channel. Bug Juice. That's what it was called.
What?
It's called Bug Juice. That's the name of that camp. Walla Walla from?
Was that the name of the show too?
Yeah, it's called Bug Juice.
I don't think
1999, and it was a camp, or 1998. Listen,
yeah, I don't think I watched that one.
Show, and when I tell you I wanted to go to that camp so bad, I was like, listen, y'all need to figure out how to get me to this camp.
Speaking of places that I wanted to go, oh, sorry. Oh, that is my. I forgot about the other phone over here. But no, speaking of places I want to go, Global Guts or that one, and then the I know
the rock one, the Adventures or something.
Yes, the Adventures or something. Like I wanted to go on that. I wanted to do that.
What is the show? It was like the slime show on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I wanted to.
And you get slimed.
Yeah. Okay, Salute Your Shorts.
Salute Your Shorts.
Did you watch that one?
I don't remember that one.
It was another camp-based show. Yeah, it was like they were at a summer camp. It came on Nickelodeon. There's so many. Like I didn't watch a lot of cartoons, but
Recess.
What was it? The Animaniacs.
Teachers, what? Animaniacs.
Rugrats.
Yeah.
Hey Arnold, Doug.
Hey Arnold, Doug. Oh my gosh. Susie Q. Oh, it's right here. Our Real Monsters.
Oh yes, yeah.
And, the other one with Nigel Thornberry, the Wild Thornberries.
Oh yeah. I remember that one.
Thornberries. Mm-hmm. Yo.
That was
good times, man. Listen.
I mean, I know there's several that we have not even. Oh wait, In Living Color was the 90s. I thought that had started in the 80s, but no, In Living Color was another great one. I
didn't really watch that until I got older though, because I didn't know what I was watching.
So I don't know when I started watching a lot of these, because like I said, I was out of the country for a good part of the 90s. Because sometimes when I look at like when shows actually started, I'm like, wait, how was I watching that then? Or when did I watch it? But I associate it with, I know that I watched it as a kid. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm pretty sure I was not watching In a Different World in 87. Because I was born in it. But I discovered it and then watched it throughout. But yeah.
Did you, what is that show? Did you watch the PJs?
Yes.
You remember the PJs?
Mm-hmm. The PJs. Let me see what else is coming up here.
I don't know what else.
Oh, did you watch Mad TV?
A little bit. Not really.
I just saw that one. We talked about all that.
While you're looking on there, I just want to say that I've been watching Moesha since it's been on Netflix. And I just want everyone to know that Moesha was the most problematic teenager that I have ever.
She really was, though.
Let me ask you this question, because maybe
an attitude problem like no other.
You have an attitude problem. What teenager do you know that's going to turn down a free car with free gas and free car insurance that you do not have to pay for?
Not this one.
I know I wasn't a drop top Saturn and you gonna pay for it. Please, can I have two of them? For that daggone Tonka trunk toy truck that she was driving around.
What was it? Oh, that's right. She wanted her Jeep. Yeah, she wanted the Jeep, or she had like come on the Jeep. Yeah, no. I mean, speaking of Moesha, I meant to say this earlier. Hair was always
laid.
Like braids. Brandy in general, I was always trying to get my hair like her or get braids like her. I wore braids most of my life. Yeah. Largely because I was always trying to get them to get it like her. Yeah. Rarely did that happen. But yeah, no, Moesha was.
She was problematic, man.
She was problematic like that. And that was the other thing I thought about with that show. I don't know how many shows were like addressing the blended family.
Yeah.
So like that was, they touched on that and just how evil she was to Dee at first.
Yeah.
And like that whole thing. And all the time she'd be sneaking out or she used Hakeem. Probably a little bit of everything.
Well, you just said blended family though, and I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, I think
it wasn't blended.
Shows that had blended family. Well, I mean, not blended, but I know. Yeah,
theirs wasn't blended, but
like Fresh Prince, he came from Philly, was living with them.
Right, gotcha.
And what's it called? The Cosby Show when Denise got married to the dude and they was living in the house.
Right. Well, I guess I meant in the sense of second marriage and kids from another marriage in that sense. But like I said, I remember that being different when I saw it, like for me in terms of seeing it on TV.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of, having somebody come live with you, I feel like that's almost the norm. Is in Black families, at least in mine, that's the norm.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else?
I'm just watching because I'm gonna watch the whole series, but I'm just like, man, yo, like she was awful. She was terrible.
I haven't started watching it yet on Netflix.
A terrible influence.
Once again, the way that TV lied to us.
Because I was looking forward to that experience, but now that I'm an adult, I'm just like, it was awful, and I wanted to fight her.
Yeah, she was doing the most.
Did the most.com.
Did you watch Xena Warrior Princess?
Yes.
That was the 90s.
Speaking of Xena, did you ever watch any of the Power Rangers series?
Yes. Yes.
Power Rangers and those
Mighty Morphin.
Those minimal, what is it, theatrics and graphics.
Looking back now, it's like, oh, y'all really wasn't doing anything.
That was funny.
The Magic School Bus.
Oh my god! Of course.
This is Frazzle.
Words right on the Magic School Bus.
Yes. That and
the puppet. The puppet. What's the puppet? Oh, you know the puppet. The sheep. From the
Lamb Chops.
Lamb Chop.
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll just keep on singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end.
Good times, man.
I used to annoy my parents with that, or any adult for that matter. Just start singing it.
Okay, I have to ask you this. Don't judge me because I don't care. I used to watch it.
Okay.
Did you watch Barney?
Yes. I watched it, but most of the time it was reluctantly because my sister would want to watch it because she loved Baby Bop.
Yeah, when I tell you I was the biggest Barney fan, I had Barney covers, Barney sheets, Barney pillowcase, Barney dinosaur. Listen, was it telling me nothing about Barney?
I can believe it. Like, I watched it, but then it was like I got to this point where I felt like I was too old for it. I was trying to be mature or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm too old for that. I'm going to watch the adult shows.
He was a
little, but I still watched it.
Grown-ass man in a barn in a dinosaur costume. A little creepy.
Right.
But at the same time, you had Big Bird.
And Big Bird is still...
pretty creepy.
Yeah, Big Bird is still out here. Big Burden.
Big Bird.
Let me see, what else was there? Was Alf the 90s?
Was who?
Alf.
I don't know Alf.
It was like, I don't know what kind of animal he was supposed to be, but he had like a really big nose. I remember having Alf cups, but I think that may have been the 80s.
Not sure.
You remember Bobby's World?
Bobby's World.
They were from like Minnesota. I just remember the mom because she was like, "Oh, don't you know?" That's all I really remember about the show.
I'm not judging you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Alf.
Oh yeah, I remember Alf.
Yeah, like I don't know what kind of animal. I didn't watch much. I just remember like
that face.
Yes, the face, but I couldn't tell you much of anything about the show.
Winnie the Pooh. No, well, Winnie the Pooh was the 80s. But I watched it in the 90s.
But there were
episodes in the 90s.
There were 8 episodes in the 90s.
And fun and candy and something. I don't know the rest. That was my boy.
I'm trying to think.
Hmm. What was that cartoon? It was on Nickelodeon. It was called, I think it was called Rocket. Did you watch Rocket?
Mm,
It was like these little kids and they were skateboarders or something or the other. Rocket.
no, I don't think I watched that one.
I don't know, girl.
And I feel like we definitely touched on
Well,
the big one. Not everything, but I would say the ones that were important to us. uh,
one, two more. Because I just thought about it because I looked at the camera and saw this yellow wall, and I have no idea why the yellow wall reminded me of the first one I'm going to say, the Golden Girls.
was that the 90s?
Well, they started in the 80s.
Yes, Golden Girls. Yeah, that's a classic.
And I still watch it like I've never seen every single episode. And the nanny named Fran.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
Get out of my head. Yes.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield. That was another problematic relationship.
Super problematic.
But they ended up together in the end.
Well, why do all of that though? You think your housekeeper is attractive. Be with your housekeeper. Call it a day. Why do we gotta go through these hoops and hurdles? You dating, she dating, she dating, you dating, and then you get married.
Because that's not the way, you're not supposed to. That's not, she wasn't from the right area, all these titles and the pretenses and everything, all the shoulds.
Yeah.
True.
That's true. And a lot of those shows in the 90s touched on those social norms.
Definitely. Like that was heavy in just of like, oh, well, no, I can't date this person because they don't do this, or they're from there, or we're from different worlds.
It's a different world.
Right. Which is why she ended up leaving that man at the altar.
Discuss that problematic relationship again because it's going to upset me. Make no sense. She gave that man a whole week's worth of episodes. I love you and I want to be with you.
Oh.
You wait until I'm about to walk down the aisle.
No, she's already down the aisle.
Right, about to say I do.
Like they was all but married, and look, like, okay, and then this is me thinking about it, like practically speaking, because what I have learned is most of the time people are already legally married when they go to the ceremony.
That's true.
The license.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering, but then I know some people, they wait until the ceremony and then they sign. Like they'll have it, but they don't sign it until after the ceremony. So it's like,
we'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Benefit of the doubt is they hadn't signed it and they were going to do it after. But like,
still problematic. Still a shame.
Right.
Still not okay.
But I remember having the thought of like, ooh, I want somebody to come. I kind of want to have that happen.
That's the lie, because the lie is like, that he really loved her. Like
he gonna come get me from, like, I'm gonna be about to marry somebody else, and then the one I really want to be with is gonna come. But I'm like, all of the time, energy, the money, and everything that just the reality of that, like the fallout from that. No, I don't want that, and I don't wish that I would. I'm not gonna lie. It would be interesting to witness, but I don't really want that to happen.
Definitely would. But I know me, and I'm going to have an attitude. Because I know that you and I had a conversation. And I said to you, bruh, I'm about to marry homie. I'm giving you another opportunity. I'm giving you 3 more chances.
Right.
You're down to 2. Now you're down to 1. And you're going to wait until I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to marry you, but we're going to have a conversation about this.
Right. And then he was there the night before.
2 nights before, Tay, not just one. I'm gonna have a conversation with you about the fact that you ruined my wedding, and even though I wanted to marry you, I still don't appreciate you ruining my wedding, and now I have to have another one.
But they never did.
Last minute.
And they never
Wasn't another wedding, but I don't want to marry you in front of his people.
right. That was yeah. It really is so problematic.
You know, you watch these things as an adult, and you're just like, it's cute and everything, but
no, like there's way too much.
too much.
And I could see myself like at this point, I wouldn't go. I know I wouldn't go. I would not go through the process of actually even preparing to marry Byron.
Right.
Like I wouldn't do it because I would know that okay, I don't really love you. No, but I could see like being, you know, she was in her early 20s. I could potentially see myself doing something like that then because okay, no, I can love you.
I'll getting ready to marry someone else and still be in love with someone else.
I don't know. Like I could see how being younger and the knowing most of your life that you need to get married and live a certain lifestyle and whatever. So it was like Byron embodied all of the things that she had been taught that she should want and should do. And so it's like, well, it's always been something with me and Dwayne.
Right.
He got a lot of potential.
Right, girl, that keyword boy.
Right. But the finances are not there yet. And so I could see how you could essentially persuade yourself to say, okay, he's not my ideal, but I could grow to love him. I mean, I do have a good time with him. I like him. I'll have a good life, like that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because and it was also being with Dwayne was also still a risk because it's this. I know you're intelligent. I know you have the potential to make a whole lot of money and do all this stuff, but you're not there yet. And you want to go help people. And Willie didn't like working.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see like how you got to that point.
Yeah.
But me today, nah. As much as I would like to be married and, you know, have a family and all that stuff, if I got doubts and reservations.
Right. Like I'm old now. I
know how to be single. I know how to take care of myself. And I'm not about to bring somebody else into my life just for the sake of.
Right, exactly.
I was married now.
That's how I'm gonna look at you like, okay, yeah.
Right. Like, oh, so we doing this? All right.
Girl, these shows is problematic. Okay.
Right. But I still love them.
Before I let you go, before we close out, because we're talking about problematic, you know one couple that we did not talk about that was problematic? I mean, we talked about the show, but we didn't talk about their problems in their relationship. Steve Harvey and Regina. They too.
Piggy.
Piggy.
Yeah.
You made fun of her because she was an overweight lover back in the day. She lost all this weight. She was giving you a hard time. Then you was trying to get with her. She don't want to get. Why is this?
All this back and forth.
It's a continuous theme with all these TV shows.
And I guess maybe part of it was to keep people watching, or you got to have some drama. But does it really take all of that? Like,
clearly, because we watched all of it.
Can you just? But I guess it's like you had that, and then you had. Well, no, they were already together. It was like you had Cliff and Claire, but we didn't see their
stuff before.
We didn't see their love story. They talked about it, but everything else was because I guess that point, I think to the 90s, like dating was a thing, or like that was becoming bigger in terms of like the whole process of dating, which
there definitely was a shift in the shows. That's for sure.
And dating now is even stranger.
That's a show.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a show for another day, for a Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
These guys, man.
Ooh.
I'm like, why? Where is Quinn? Dang. I was in love with Quinn.
Quentin.
Q from Moesha.
Okay. You really wanted Q?
Not daggone Q from Love and Basketball. Listen, when I tell you, I was like the whole narrative of a gangster and a gentleman that Q was giving, I was here for it.
I know.
was trying to embody my inner Moesha Mitchell. Okay? Don't judge me.
But we just talked about how problematic she was, so.
Problematic. But I didn't know that as a teenager.
Right.
I wasn't even a teenager when that came out. I was in junior high school or something.
Yeah, no. I don't even know anymore. I feel like I want a mixture of several different characters, but
Facts, a little.
At this point, I'm just like, okay, God, clearly I don't know how to pick. So
drop in for me. Let me know.
I'm doing my best to just sit still and just wait.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, let me do what I need to do and work on me. So whenever he shows up,
right,
or we bump into each other, however it happens,
right,
I'll be ready. And Lord, I hope he's doing whatever he needs to do during this time as well.
That part, all of that part,
and that majority of the potential has been realized.
That part again.
Yes.
Because we're gonna sit here for another hour and a half. We're not gonna. So, my dearest friend.
Yes.
Definitely have to do this again.
Yes. This was fun.
Definitely fun. I'm so glad that this was something that you was like wanting to do too, because I've been wanting to do a show like this for a long time. So.
Yes. I love the 90s, and there's so many things. Like, we could do it on movies.
Oh, for sure.
So many things. But
so before we close out, drop your socials.
Okay, so It's All Good podcast. On Instagram, it's podcast. It's All Good. On Facebook, it's All Good. And then me personally, Instagram is Lala_Esquire.
Facts.
Yeah.
So my beautiful people, we want to thank you, my homegirl Latavia with It's All Good podcast, talking about some 90s shows and their problems that they've caused us in our youth.
Right.
So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon.
All righty.